So let's now step over to a really interesting further example. We talked about bureaucracy and about the challenges, right? And there are not many companies where I think sustainability is part of the DNA, but I'm happy. I think we found a company with Interface where sustainability is part of the DNA, and also the transparency about reporting what the journey is, how this journey is going to look like. So I'm super happy to have today here Gritli Heitbrink, who is the Sustainable Manager in the DACH region for Interface. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So I just suggested sustainability is part of your DNA. Is that correct, or?
Yeah, we do have a very long sustainability story. We transformed beginning of the 90s. So yeah, I would say it's really in the DNA. It has been started from the top, which I think is always super important. That's really wanted by the founder of Interface, and I think we have written the journey through until today. And yeah, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to tell a bit about this.
Thank you so much for being here. The stage is yours. Looking forward to your insights.
Thank you very much. So yeah, as Garrett said, I'm Gritli Heitbrink, Sustainability Manager at Interface. I'm responsible for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And just to give you a little idea on the company, it's not a software company, as the name Interface sometimes does suggest. We are selling flooring solutions. That means we have a portfolio of carpet tiles, LVT, so luxury vinyl tiles, and rubber flooring, and mainly for commercial spaces. That means for offices, education, hospitality, healthcare. We have been founded in 1973, headquarters in Atlanta. Myself, I'm located in Krefeld. And this is just to show you what our products look on the floor, just to have an idea. I was invited today to tell you about the sustainability history of Interface that started in 1994 at a point of time where nobody really talked about sustainability, circularity, or artificial intelligence. So it was quite a challenge. I would like to start the presentation with a quote. I would read it out. Be so transparent it feels uncomfortable. Tell the whole story and share whole company metrics. Pilot and push new disclosure and transparency approaches that can scale to your industry and beyond. This is a quote from a publication that looked back at the history of Interface, but this is very well describing the attitude of our founder, Ray Anderson, who kicked off the sustainability transformation of the company. And he was of the very strong belief that transparency is a key element of this transformation, to make sure that we openly communicate our negative impacts as well as our targets and also our progress. We have published our first sustainability report in 1997, which was rather unconventional given the standards of today, but this has evolved over time, as well as our sustainability goals. We are coming from a business, a take, make, waste business model, to a company that wants to avoid any negative impact on the environment, to our today's goal to become carbon negative as a company by 2040. And this without any compensation. So carbon is playing an important role. Carbon matters because carbon is the driver for the global warming. Carbon is the driver of the climate change. But we try to see carbon also as a solution. And by designing our products, we are looking at the full product life cycle, and we try to avoid and reduce and store as much carbon as we can. And we are looking at each stage of the product cycle: product design, raw material selection, manufacturing process, use and maintenance, as well as end of life. And I'm going to give you in the next couple of minutes for each of those product stages examples how we approach them, how we try to avoid carbon, how we try to close loops. And this may also serve as an inspiration, because if we can do it as a company, any company can do it. And after these examples, I will also give you a short overview of what are our measurements today, what kind of data are we sharing. So let's start with the very first stage, product design. So we have been trying to look as nature, be inspired as from nature. So when you look at a forest floor, it's random. There is no planned design. And this is what we try to take over for our carpet designs. We developed a non-directional design, which means it's, first of all, much easier for a floor installer to use. It's much easier to exchange individual carpet tiles, and it also is much less waste. When we're looking at raw material selection, we are raw materials that are recycled. So we avoid virgin fossil materials. We are using bio-based materials that store carbon behind photosynthesis. And quite recently, we have been start to use captured carbon materials, so materials that store carbon via a chemical process. And that is the way, that are materials that we introduce in our products, which lead to a very low carbon footprint, or which lead even to carbon negative products. In 2020, we introduced our first carbon negative carpet tiles. That means the carpet tiles store, cradle to gate, more carbon than they emit. And we have meanwhile 42 products, more than 400 designs, so it's really something which is more and more becoming a standard. At the beginning of the year in 2025, we introduced a new prototype for our rubber, carbon negative prototype, where we integrated all the learnings we had from the carpet tiles. So again, here we managed to have a carbon negative product, and we are hoping to commercialize this in the very near future. From the very beginning, we always have been looking at manufacturing processes to make them more efficient. We are prioritizing renewable energy, but we are also looking at responsible water management, how to reduce water usage. And we are also looking at production waste, how to reduce it and can we recycle it. Use and maintenance, that is a super important part of this product cycle. The longer a product stays, in our case, on the floor, the less emissions it produces. And there are different ways of thinking about use and maintenance. One way you see on the left-hand side with our carpet tiles, we were thinking of new ways of installing our products. And again, inspired by nature, inspired by the gecko's ability to stick to the wall. So we found a way for a glue-free installation method for our carpet tiles, which means that they can, again, be easily exchanged. You can take out individual carpet tiles. You don't have to take out a complete floor, so you can prolong the service life of this overall floor. Another way to look at use and maintenance are our NORA products, and these are really, it's a reference for long-term performance. What you see here on the right-hand side is a reference from the University of Bochum, where our floor is sitting for more than 50 years. And this is due to its robust, to its easy cleaning ways, and to its very strong performance. So again, the less exchange cycles you have for a product, the less emissions you produce. And then the stage of end of life. End of life ideally is not the end of life, but it's actually the start of a second life. So we have our Take Back program re-entry for our carpet tiles. And the priority here is really to reuse them. That is in the first place. So we work with partners, social institutions or charity organizations. We work with them and they find another place for our used products. And for carpet tiles that cannot be reused, most of them we can recycle in our recycling machine in Schapenzeil in the Netherlands, and we can separate them, yarn from backing, and those materials again go back into new products. So we try again to close the loop here. So this is basically what we look at when we develop our products. To really, at the very beginning, already think about what is going to happen with them at the end of the life. To make sure that we use the right materials and to make sure that we use innovative and intelligent ways of installing, of using, of maintenance. And now I give you a short overview of what we measure and how we also have improved over the years. So what you see here is our greenhouse gas emissions. You see here the development since 2019. 2019 is an important baseline for us because for different things. That's the one we use currently. And you see that we have a decline of 38% versus 2019. When you look at 1996, where we started to measure greenhouse gas emissions, we have a reduction of 96%. So we are here on a very good way to reduce our emissions. When we're looking at the product impacts, we look at the carbon footprints. And what you can see here are all our different product categories, carpet tiles, the luxury vinyl tiles, and the rubber. And you see the different carbon footprints and how we have improved them again since the base year of 2019. Carpet tiles by 35%, RWTH by 46%, and rubber by 21%. So we have all made very relevant steps toward reducing this. And we also look at material composition, and this is what you see in the line below. This means that across all our product categories, more than half of it is sourced from materials from recycled or bio-based sources. And in Europe already with our carpet tiles, we have a share of 88% on average. So this is all recycled bio-based, which means not virgin fossil. And we also have science-based targets. Science-based targets are corporate targets that are aligned with the emission reduction targets of the Paris Climate Agreement. That means that should keep the global warming at 1.5 Celsius degree. And we did this together with the Science Based Target Initiative because they have a recognized methodology to define those targets. And we have them against 2019, and that's why this baseline is important for us. We measure against 2019, and the objective is to reach those targets until 2030. We are halfway through time-wise, and we have more than half of it already achieved. Scope 1 and Scope 2, and this is with many companies like this, are very small in percentage. So these are actually the emissions you have the most direct influence on as a company. Scope 3 in our case, it's 97% of our emissions. And this is really hard to achieve. And there we are also dependent on our partners, on our suppliers, but also on our customers to help us to reduce further the carbon emissions to achieve our goal at 2040. So this is a very important milestone, 2030. By 2040, there is still quite a way to go. And I would like to finish this presentation again with a quote. From the beginning, we knew measuring and sharing our progress would be important, but we don't measure for the sake of measuring. And I think that's super important because that is a lot of discussion today. Why measuring? We are measuring because we want to understand if our actions show impact. We want to measure because we want to achieve and the trust of our stakeholders, employees, customers, shareholders. And also, we want to understand and identify the areas where we still can and need to improve. And that was it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much for your insights, and I think for the very inspiring talk. 1992 first sustainability report. That's crazy. That is far before the trend. So I think it is in the DNA. Thank you so much for also sharing your newest numbers. And you talked a lot about the journey for 2040. It's a lot about also the customer helps, etc. So when I saw your presentation, I was thinking about how closed is your loop of the tiles at the moment, because I understood 52% of the material is non-virgin material. Is those, I think 45%, is it your own carpets recycled or carpet tiles recycled, or is it also recycled goods that are implemented into the carpets from other?
So in the case of our carpet tiles, we do have yarn, which is, for the main part of our carpet tiles, we use 100% recycled yarn. Mm-hmm. And the backing consists of bio-based materials like oils or resin, I was just thinking of the word in English, or recycled fillers. And when we recycle, we separate those materials. Mm-hmm. And indeed, the backings go 100% back into our own products. Mm-hmm. The yarn we use, or that goes into different industry in high technology plastic materials, plastic tools. The objective, obviously, ideally, is that yarn goes back to yarn. We are still working on that. It needs to be super clean, etc. But this is obviously an ultimate goal to really close the loop to 100%. But I mean, circularity is talking about, it's a discussion. When is it really closing a loop? What is really upcycling, recycling? So there are different ways of using materials, but I think to use material back into the original one is the ideal vision.
Exactly, it's the ideal vision, and after that we can start cascading down maybe where else to use the material, to close the material cycle here as well. You talked about re-entry. As I understand, your reuse program for the tiles. Is it currently already a big percentage of your revenue, or how large can I imagine this new field? Because when I think about it, it seems super easy. So we are now looking at a little bit dirty carpet at some points. It could be easy to maybe exchange as well some parts of the carpet. Is it yet accepted by the customer? Because custom help, once again, is a big, I think, important factor, as you said, at least for 2030, 2040 to achieve those goals.
So reuse is not only for carpet tiles, but actually even more for construction products becoming more and more significant. Yeah. Some companies really need their raw material back. So this is actually the best way, because then it's really economically driven, which is always good, because sustainability should be economically driven and normally isn't. I mean, Interface is an example of that it works, that you don't have sustainability and economic success need to look at separately. Still, it's not easy. I mean, in terms of carpet tiles, currently we are mainly working with, as I said, social institutions, not yet so much in the commercial area. And logistics and details are often very difficult. So one thing is how to match what we get back with what is required. So how can you make sure that, I don't know, 800 square meters in a red color are available from us, used in red. So the matching is important. Also the readiness to decide, okay, I'm not using red, I'm just using gray or whatever. So these kind of things are still sort of becoming more important. There are fortunately companies also in the building sector that try and take care of those matching opportunities and to get this more into a normal, but I think it's still a bit of a way to go.
Yeah, for sure. If I think about like home carpet or even this carpet, I think until now it was not even in my mind, but I think it was very enlightening to also see how this upgrades, reuse strategies can actually be used in a product that doesn't scream, please, or from its structure itself seems to be reusable.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, also a great inspiration maybe for many of you in the digital room here to think about how you can maybe fundamentally change the way your products are actually brought to the market or even the product design.
Yeah.
Any last recommendation you want to give to the audience out there?
I think what I said at the beginning, I mean, climate crisis is there, we know it, and it's worth thinking about the own business model and really see what you may be able to do. And maybe just sort of get, well, maybe that's probably a difficult part, but get this vision. So where do I want to be as a company? Where am I today? And what could be steps to improve? And also to get help. I mean, Interface, Ray Anderson, he pulled together a team, an eco team that helped him. He couldn't do it by his own. So maybe also get help how to do those steps, but it's important. And industry is a main driver of helping to fight the climate crisis.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your insights and for your recommendation.